Welcome back to Act of Kindness, the channel where powerful real-life stories remind us that appearances can deceive, and true worth lies in the heart. If you believe in kindness, redemption, and the power of humility, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay until the end, because today's story is going to leave you speechless. Now, let's begin. It was a bright Saturday afternoon at the annual charity gala hosted by the Carters, a powerful couple known for their influence and generosity. The event was packed with celebrities, CEOs, and high society women showing off designer gowns and diamond smiles. Everyone wanted to be seen, everyone wanted to impress. Among the guests was Melissa Grant, a well-known socialite in her early 30s, blonde, bold, and painfully proud. She had grown up in money, married into more, and believed the world revolved around her presence. To her, class was about the clothes you wore, the champagne you sipped, and who you stood next to at a party. She strutted into the ballroom in her gold gown, clutching her glass of expensive rosé, scanning the crowd for familiar faces. That's when she spotted a woman she didn't recognize, tall, elegant, radiant, wearing a simple yet breathtaking black evening dress. The woman's skin glowed under the chandelier light, and her warm smile drew attention wherever she moved. That woman was Aria Williams, the wife of billionaire businessman Jordan Williams, one of the evening's key sponsors. But Melissa didn't know that. She just saw a beautiful black woman standing among the upper elite and assumed she must be staff. Aria was chatting with a small group near the art exhibit, talking softly about the pieces being auctioned for charity, when Melissa approached, her tone laced with arrogance. "Excuse me," Melissa said, flicking her wrist. "Would you mind bringing me another drink? This one's gone flat." Aria blinked, surprised, but her smile didn't fade. "I'm sorry, I think there's been a misunderstanding." Melissa rolled her eyes. "Oh please, don't play coy. The waitstaff uniforms are black, aren't they? Or did you just crash the event hoping for leftovers?" The small group around them went silent. Aria's husband, Jordan, was across the room talking business. He hadn't noticed what was happening yet. Aria calmly said, "I'm actually one of the event's co-sponsors with my husband. Perhaps I can help you find your seat instead." But Melissa wasn't listening. She was already laughing to her friends. "Oh, this is rich. A co-sponsor. Sweetheart, charity guests don't wear thrift dresses." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Aria's grace never wavered. She stood tall, her eyes soft but steady. "You might want to watch your words," she said quietly. "They have a way of echoing in rooms like this." Melissa smirked. "What, you gonna lecture me about manners? Please, you people always make everything dramatic." The last phrase hit like thunder. Several people nearby froze, their eyes wide. And that's when Jordan Williams appeared. He had a presence that could silence a room. Tall, commanding, his suit tailored to perfection. His voice cut through the tension like steel wrapped in silk. "Is there a problem here?" Melissa instantly straightened. "Oh, Mr. Williams, I didn't see you there." He gave her a polite but sharp smile. "I'm sure you didn't, because you were too busy insulting my wife." The room fell dead silent. Aria's eyes met his, calm but sad. She hadn't wanted to make a scene. But Melissa's face went pale as realization sank in. "Wife," she stuttered. She's your." "Yes," Jordan said simply. "She's my wife. The woman who helped organize this entire event, and the one whose generosity tonight will fund shelters for hundreds of women." Melissa's throat tightened. She could feel every pair of eyes on her, burning holes through her pride. She opened her mouth to apologize, but words wouldn't come out. Instead, panic did. I didn't mean to, I just thought." Aria shook her head softly. "You thought wrong." And she turned to leave. But before she could, Melissa grabbed her arm, too roughly, and in a moment of pure, desperate frustration, she shouted, "Don't you walk away from me like you're better than me." The sound that followed was a sharp, shocking smack. She had slapped her. The entire ballroom gasped as Aria stumbled slightly but caught herself, eyes wide in disbelief. Jordan stepped forward immediately, rage flashing across his face. "Are you out of your mind?" he roared. Melissa froze, her hand trembling. Her face went from anger to terror in an instant. She hadn't meant to. She didn't even realize what she'd done until it was too late. Security began to move toward her, but Arya raised her hand. No, she said softly. Don't. Her calm, composed tone silenced even the guards. Arya looked at Melissa with quiet dignity. You just ruined your own reputation, not mine. Melissa's knees buckled slightly. Her friends stepped back, not wanting to be associated. The crowd's judgment was louder than any word. Jordan turned to security. Escort her out, now. Melissa began to cry. Please, Mr. Williams, please. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. But Jordan didn't even glance at her. She fell to her knees, begging Arya. Please, I'm sorry. I'll do anything. Please don't ruin me. Arya looked down at her. And in that moment, everyone could see the difference between power and grace. I don't have to ruin you, Arya said quietly. You did that yourself. But I'll pray you learn from this. She turned and walked away, leaving Melissa sobbing on the marble floor. Hours later, the story was all over social media. Guests had recorded everything. The slap, the humiliation, the plea for forgiveness, it spread like wildfire. Melissa's name trended for all the wrong reasons. Sponsors cut ties. Her reputation crumbled overnight. But that wasn't the end. A few weeks later, Arya was visiting one of the shelters funded by her charity, the very one she'd spoken about that night. The building was warm and welcoming, filled with women rebuilding their lives. As she walked through the common area, she heard a familiar voice from one of the volunteer stations. It was Melissa. She was there wearing jeans and a simple t-shirt, no makeup, sorting donated clothes with quiet focus. When she looked up and saw Arya, her breath caught. Mrs. Williams, she said softly, lowering her head. I didn't expect to ever see you again. Arya smiled faintly. You're volunteering here. Melissa nodded. Yeah, after what happened, I lost everything. Sponsors, friends, even my husband filed for separation. I was angry at first, but then I realized it was all my fault. I came here to do something good. Maybe start over. Arya studied her for a long moment. Then she said gently, people make mistakes. What matters is what they do afterward. Tears welled in Melissa's eyes. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I just wanted you to know, I'm trying. Arya reached out and placed a hand on hers. Then keep trying. Change isn't instant, but if you mean it, it'll show. Melissa nodded, tears streaming down her face. Thank you. You didn't have to say that. Arya smiled softly. Maybe not. But kindness is more powerful than revenge. As she walked away, Melissa watched her go, realizing that the woman she once insulted now represented everything she aspired to become. Months passed. One morning, Arya received a letter, handwritten, carefully sealed. It was from Melissa. Inside, it read, Dear Mrs. Williams, I don't expect you to remember me kindly. But I wanted you to know that your grace changed my life. That day, I saw what true strength looks like. You didn't raise your voice, you didn't seek revenge, you showed compassion. Because of you, I found my purpose. I now manage community outreach full-time, helping women who've fallen like I did. I hope someday, I can be the kind of woman you are. Thank you, for teaching me what real class means. With gratitude, Melissa. Arya smiled as she folded the letter. Jordan walked in, noticing the expression on her face. Good news, he asked, kissing her cheek. Just a reminder, she said softly, that forgiveness can do what punishment never could. He smiled. That's why I fell in love with you. The story of that slap became more than just gossip. It became a lesson shared in talk shows, podcasts, and business conferences across the country. Not about humiliation, but about humility. Because in a world obsessed with wealth and status, one woman's grace reminded everyone that true worth has nothing to do with money or skin color, and everything to do with the heart. Sometimes, people's biggest mistake becomes the start of their greatest transformation. And as for Arya and Jordan Williams, they continued their mission, funding shelters and mentoring young women, ensuring that kindness always echoed louder than pride. Melissa's journey wasn't easy, but in every life she helped, every woman she encouraged, there was a small reflection of the woman she had once hurt. And that was her redemption. Because sometimes, the person you hurt the most ends up being the one who teaches you how to heal. If this story moved you, Don't forget to subscribe to Act of Kindness, where we share powerful true stories that remind us of the beauty of second chances. Thank you for watching. And remember, kindness costs nothing, but it can change everything.